Gus, can you give us your full name and title?
Ron, it's Gus Cusimano. I'm Vice President and Managing Partner of Deerborne Insurance, and we're part of the Stonebridge Insurance Group of companies. We have offices across the country. And
Okay, Gus, what's the biggest problem in commercial insurance you see right now?
I think the biggest problem is that people don't really know what they're buying. A lot of people just buy on price rather than on coverage. In my experience, it's more important that a client purchase the best coverage available because things happen. And I'd rather say, Ron, you're covered, rather than, Ron, sorry, you're not covered.
Okay, can you give me maybe one example of somebody who thought they had the good insurance but didn't have it and there was a problem?
One of the common areas that I think people are lacking in is directors and officers insurance. People think that if they have a limited company that they're protected, but they're not. They're still open for lawsuits if, for example, they've dismissed an employee and the employee comes back and sues them for wrongful dismissal. If they don't have directors and officers insurance, the directors, in most cases, they were the shareholders as well, are liable for that. And directors and officers insurance, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated insurances that people are lacking.
What do you think the biggest problem in the way general insurance is transacted? Like, what would you recommend to a broker and somebody buying commercial insurance to make sure they had the good product, the good plan that would cover them?
Well, I think the client should open up and give full disclosure to brokers and have the broker provide a comprehensive plan to the client. The world is changing so quickly out there that people are left behind, even in the insurance world. There's new risks every single day out there, and the client, if they cooperate and if they go with the broker that asks the client for a full review of their business, then I think in most cases that the client will be in good hands with a broker that asks all the questions and that the client provides all of the answers. And then the broker then can provide an option to the client for the best coverage of risk to protect the client. After all, I hear stories that people are in business for like 30 years, but they can lose their business in 30 minutes if they don't have the proper coverage. And a good broker will make sure that they don't lose their business in 30 minutes because he'll make sure that the client has the best coverage available. Again, it boils down to coverage.
Okay, so Gus, sort of what I hear you saying is that if, say, I called up and I said I wanted to quote on a specific type of insurance, you wouldn't just quote on that insurance. You'd ask a lot more questions. Maybe there was a different policy that I didn't even know of that would be appropriate, and you would bring it to my attention.
Definitely. Most people, most clients know their business, but they don't know insurance. That's where a good broker will show to the client the best coverages available for that client's business needs and protection. It's very, very important. Again, I repeat myself, it's very, very important that the client purchase the best coverage available to protect his risk. He doesn't want to lose his business in 30 minutes when he's been working for 30 years.
Oh, well, can you give us maybe another example or two of somebody who either had the right insurance or the wrong insurance and how it turned out?
Well, I've had stories and personal experience where people have come to us and they've said that their building burnt down, but the insurance company only paid them half of what the building was worth. And in most of those cases, it's because the value of the building did not keep up with the inflation of the building. In other words, they bought insurance, 10 years went by, they never reviewed their insurance with the broker, or the broker never asked them to review their insurance policy. Over 10 years, the price of the value of the building went up, but the insurance didn't go up in coverage. They had a claim, and they didn't have proper coverage. They would come to us, they came to us, and we would review, and we did review the replacement cost of the building. We made sure that they had the proper coverage in case a claim occurred, because every policy has what's called a co-insurance clause. That's one of the very first things the insurance companies look at when there is a claim, to make sure that the client is insured to value. We make sure that the client's insured to value, because again, we don't want the client to be left without coverage, even though they may think they have the proper coverage.
Okay, so I got another question. Since you had brought up this term coinsurance, I had a prospective client, and he had a house that was supposed to be insured for $1 million. So he said, well, I only want to insure it for $500,000, because what's the chance it would all burn down? If, say, there's a $200,000 loss or $300,000, at least I've got enough money to pay.
Well, in that example, if the property was worth $1 million and you only purchased $500,000 worth of insurance, he would only get 50% of any claim that would occur. So if he had a $200,000 claim, the insurance company would only pay him $100,000, even though that was below the $500,000 in insurance. And that's very common practice today. So it's very, very important that the clients have a proper insurance, proper valuations, and a proper review from the broker on a periodic basis. It's very important that the broker communicate with the client and make sure that the client is up to date on all of their insurances. After all, and that's just not once a year, because things happen, every month. And a good broker will then communicate with his client periodically throughout the year, just to keep touch with them and see what's going on in the client's business. After all, we are looking out for the client. And we only do that when we communicate with the client. And we try to do that periodically as well.
Okay, great. So actually, in that case where the person who wanted insurance only wanted $500,000, I told them, I wouldn't take that case because it wasn't the right thing to do, and we didn't go forward. So, Gus, you've told us some interesting things about insurance. Do you want to tell us a little about your career, which has been extensive, and maybe some final thoughts about insurance before I let you go?
I'm basically growing up in insurance. I started my insurance practice right out of university, and like I said a few minutes ago, the world is ever changing, and that means insurance is ever changing. So I pride myself and that we are up to date in insurance trends, insurance coverages, and we want to make sure, again, that our clients are properly protected. Price is important, but in my opinion, coverages are even more important.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. I tell people my job is to make sure you're covered properly, because somebody once told me the best feeling is when somebody calls up, am I covered? Yeah, don't worry, you're covered. That's my business. That's your business. It's not our business to save somebody $11 a month and they find out they've got the wrong coverage.
Totally agree with you, Ron. I know that's what you do to your clients, and I really appreciate your work every day as well.
Okay, so thanks so much. It's been very insightful, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Ron.